All right, greetings and salutations to everybody out there in YouTube land. I'm your host once again, Dan Thornton. I want to thank you all for joining us here today. Lions Talk Live. Hey, we got some news that's just hitting the wire minutes ago. We're getting this from some friends of the Dew crew, I guess you could say, people in Detroit-based media, that earlier today, Brad Holmes was contacted about potentially the Lions moving off one of their own players and sending them out west to the San Francisco 49ers. Sounds like a second team has also called Lions about some defensive help, a player, a position, perhaps they have a little bit of flexibility with. So we're going to be joined here by Superfan Hutch, and I believe Johnny Gaz Sports is joining us momentarily. There's also a second component to this, in that not only were the Lions called by from two different teams, I'm told in the last 24 hours, about potentially trading DJ Reader. We were talking about it, just talking about happenstance, talking about it with Kurt Steele this morning on the show, that Lions, hey, Lee McNeil gets back. They've got a gluttony of defensive tackles on this team. You guys probably know from looking across the NFL, there are a lot of teams struggling to stop the run right now. Let's start off with Johnny Gaz. I know you're fighting the clock here. So this news about Reader potentially being shipped out of Detroit, what would be your thoughts about DJ Reader? Well, we all get he's on the final year of his contract. You think it's a good move for the Lions?
I think it shows that they may have more faith in Aleem McNeil coming back sooner than later, and maybe coming back firing on all cylinders a lot quicker than they thought he would. So, I mean, I guess I would lean towards that as far as the reason why we're hearing this sort of news. But I would truly, Dan, I'd still be shocked if they move on from him. I would put this more towards the speculation side of things still. I just think the Lions' defensive prowess stopping the run is too good right now to start messing with that interior. I just don't think they're good enough to start playing games with what they're doing, especially against Patrick Mahomes coming up this week. I don't want to mess with that. So that's where I'm at with it, Dan.
Superfan Hutch, you get it. Teams are always going to call, knock on doors, see what they can get, especially if they can get a right price on it. But with the 49ers, potentially being one of the two teams, it sounds like that made the call. Is there anything in return you could see them giving us other than draft picks?
No, that'd be about the only thing. I mean, they don't really have anybody that I'm interested in on that team. Right. We don't need wide receivers. We don't need, corners, but they don't have a good corner that I'm very interested in team. No. If there's a team out there that had some corners, like let's say Carolina called me and said, hey, we're not good. We need to move on from Jace Horn. Okay, we'll give DJ Reader and whatever. But yeah, I'm with John on this, man. Like, you just don't mess with it. I mean, especially with the schedule coming up, you still got to play Washington. You still got to play the Eagles. You got to play Patrick Mahomes. Like, I know the Eagles are kind of falling off. Like, no one saw this coming. No one had them losing to the Giants last night. But like, you still got to play Saquon Barkley. Like, DJ Reader is a huge piece of this defense. Maybe next year they move off of him because of Tyleek and Aleem being back and they can just go healthy. But I wouldn't be shocked at all if just Lions just kept this guy here for another 1-year deal just to kind of keep this defense. I mean, Kelvin has stressed enough that he wants to stop the run, and then everything's run from that. So, teams are going to do their due diligence just with this stuff coming out with Davenport possibly coming back, Tyleek, Aleem, all these. But I don't think Brad Holmes is going to trade him. The way they wanted that guy when we first brought him in, I don't think they're going to move off of him.
I think we all get people call for whatever reasons to try to get players. The other part of this, we've been hearing this for a few days now, that Brad Holmes, or maybe even a week now, has made some calls, talked to some teams, trying to acquire some free agent players, but also spoken to some teams about some potential low-grade trades. One of the big ones is probably just about all Lions fans know is over in Seattle, Woolen potentially becoming available. Speculation is saying they are looking for something like a 4th-round pick. Maybe if they don't get the right offers, maybe they'll settle for a 5th. But let's go back to you, Johnny Gaz. Woolen, now that Devin Weatherspoon's about healthy, going to be returned, and it sounds like they want to ship him out, do you think Brad Holmes should look at him?
I like Woolen. I think I give it the time of day, but I don't think that Brad Holmes is willing to give up a 4th-round draft pick. I think his middle round picks are his bread and butter. If he's not going to use the pick, he's going to use it to move up or back in the draft. So I just don't think he's in any position to give away a draft pick. I think with the other additions they made with Flowers, and then I think his name is Mullet here just recently, they brought in another cornerback. So I think that's that's the solution without having to pay any sort of dividends or give any picks up. So that's where I think they're at with that one. So I don't think they make that move.
Superfan Hutch, what do you have to say about potentially making a trade to add some depth, or do you just go with the guys we've got?
No, it sucks, man, because this is about the last week when the injury started happening with the Lions. Right around this time it started going. But yeah, I mean, obviously cornerback's your major concern right now. I mean, you're not going to get any of your starters back possibly to the bye, which is best case scenario. You got Kirby and Branch banged up right now. You got Avonte Maddox banged up. Not ideal going against Patrick Mahomes this week. He just threw for 300 and something yards last week. So, yeah, I mean, obviously the Reek Woolen trade would be a nice piece for this, when you got a guy that's played enough. If Arnold is having those days where he's just a penalty magnet, you can throw Reek Woolen in there and it's not going to be a fall off. The guy's played enough snaps where he knows how to play football. DJ Reed, when he comes back, they don't throw his way. I mean, it was pretty obvious that he was the lockdown corner we needed. So, yeah, I mean, I don't think he's going to give up a fourth. I think it's going to be, if anything, it's going to be a fifth or sixth. And I don't know if Seattle will even trade him for that,
Going back to you, Johnny Gas, and then we'll get both you guys one last time, and then we'll get out of here. For those just joining, the Lions were contacted apparently by multiple teams in the last 24 hours about potentially trading, or would they be open? Maybe that's the best way to word it. Would they be open to trading away DJ Reader? Johnny Gas, man, I mean, you cover this team as much as anybody else. The Lions, obviously, last year went through a billion injuries. They're having some this year. Do you think there's any kind of wisdom to moving off some of the guys you currently have in order to get future guys with draft picks or whatever the trade may be?
Yeah, I'm going to be honest. I'm concerned. I don't like the way this is shaping up. But what I try to lean on is if you look around the rest of the NFL, the Lions aren't the only team that's getting beat up right now. I mean, it's all over the league. It's a league-wide issue. So I don't necessarily look internally at the Lions and say we have a problem. We got to change this. I think it's more of just. I thought this year we'd catch a little bit of luck. I just thought the law of averages would tell us that there's no way we could stack up that many injuries. But I just think what I lean on is the bread and butter players we still have, and with Aiden Hutchinson, the motor he's providing, and Aleem McNeil on the cusp of coming back. To me, if you have those two guys at your disposal, everything else can be worked out. And the way the linebackers are playing, so I still have a lot of faith in what's going on. But they cannot afford another cornerback injury. And if that happens, Dan, then we think we're having a different discussion.
Right. Superfan Hutch, your closing thoughts.
Yeah, he's spot on, man. We're getting to a spot of where we can't have a next man up mentality in this secondary. I mean, it's getting to that where our D line was last year. So that's pretty much all. Hopefully we kind of get these guys back, and then we can start winning some more games. So.
All right, we'll get you guys out of here. Hey, Johnny Gas, why don't you go first? Tell everybody where they can find you, support you, your content, and your great work.
I appreciate you, Dan. Yeah, if you haven't already, at Johnny Gas Sports on YouTube. Today we had the game preview come out for Lions and Chiefs. So make sure to go check that out, slap a like on it. But more than anything else, continue to check out Lions Talk Live with Dan Thornton. It's the best authority on Lions football. That's where I go. That's where you should go. Appreciate you guys.
Thank you. Hutch Jr., to you.
Yeah, as always, you can find me on here, man. Thanks again. And then you guys can always find me on Twitter, Superfan Hutch.
All right, we'll get you guys out of here. If there's more breaking news later today, I'll get it over to you as soon as possible. Also, I'm sure you guys noticed on breaking news videos, shorter videos, not the morning show, I'll run the shorter intros. I know a few guys requested it, so I'll listen to you. And, hey, I'll go ahead and do just that. Catch you on the next one. Everybody, have a great day.